Hello, everybody. It's me, Lamani. Happy Wednesday. I know I said I wasn't streaming today. Didn't say I wouldn't make a video. A little bit under the weather. Got out of bed when I saw this. So, today, the New World Dev team has released their February team update video. If you haven't seen it, there's a link. I'll put the link to this in the description, but I have the notes from everything up, and I took my own because I'm studious. And I wanted to tell you what this means for the future of New World, where we're going, the big points from this, just so that you don't have to digest a 54-minute video and you can come over here and watch this instead. So, what am I thinking? What am I feeling? Lots of mixed emotions, great emotions. I'm excited nonetheless. Before we get into it, I just want to say thank you all for your support every single day. Thank you for watching my videos. Thank you for hanging out, supporting me, watching the live streams, everything you do. If you want to connect with me, leave a comment, DM me in Discord. Join the Discord. Follow us on Twitch. We generally stream Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 10:30 a.m. Central Time. Go for about 5 hours. TikTok, Twitter, and if you want to support me directly, feel free to hit up my Patreon. Now, team update. So you can watch through the video, go through it. They do a great job just talking about everything. They're very open, and that's what I really appreciated, I think, the most from this is how open they were, and they understood our frustration. One of their biggest concerns is player friction and the challenge and time gating kind of thing that they've implemented in the game coincidentally, and those are really where their focuses are going to be for the future. So as we're looking at this, I'm going to break this down into each topic they discussed. I'll give you what they said, and then I'll give you kind of my understanding of it and how I perceive it. So topic 1, player friction. There's a lot of things right now in the player base where it's like, I don't really like this. It's kind of like they're going this way, we're going to go this way, and we're just butting heads in the middle. So they mentioned player friction. They kind of feel like they're getting in the way of the way that people want to play the game. And a lot of systems are making it difficult to even play the game. Fast travel, if you're Dan and never have Azoth, that's a big concern. Mutation orbs, that's a big concern for me. Getting into groups, having to pay for keys. The storage system, right? There's a ton of things we're trying to store, and we have that unique ID. We have a weight. It's tough. And there's just generally a lot of things that are making it difficult. The thing that they say is that the game has gone through a long history and has so many different iterations. In fact, they say they're working on 5 different iterations of the game at any given point for future updates, for things like that. And that this February build is going to help with that a bit. And this is where their focus is going to be for the future. So what are my points from this? So how to reduce the friction. Players are unable to play the game they want to play. I think the biggest thing they can do is touch on tuning orbs, and that's what they're starting to do. They're reducing the amount of time until you can buy one. They aren't really touching any of the crafting stuff or any other ways to get them. But I think there's just an issue with tuning orbs that I'm excited to see that they're going to continue working on it in the future. I think maybe repeatable tuning orbs, like on your mutator keys, depending on if you get a success or get a gold or something like that. We just need more work on the mutator end of things. I think the biggest way or biggest thing to really take away from this player friction section is they're open and they're honest and they are understanding they are in the wrong, right? And what they're going to do, and they said this direct quote, is they are working on the game as far as a new player, as far as a Mythic 10 player, and the second you get on the beach, they are working on improving the player experience right now. And that is where they're really going to be focusing on the next few updates, is how can we get the player from start to end to really enjoy the game and be able to play any way that they want. So something they say that is really going to impact this is in recovery time. They're reducing it. You'll be able to fast travel your in faster, and the reduction in Azoth cost. I really am excited for that reduction in Azoth cost. I think it's going to be big to go wherever you want instantly, as much weight as you have, and it's going to be great for exploration. But we're going to see. I'm not sure how much that'll impact the player's playability. I think it's mainly the systems that really need some work. But at the end of the day, they do say in this section they are listening. They just want to take their time so that they don't break the game. So the biggest thing is that they are recognizing some of these systems are making it difficult, whether it's fast travel, mutator, orb storage. And the game has changed direction so many times that they're finally ready to start shedding some of that weight from their past games. They mentioned, there's still systems in here from when it was a survival game. But I think at this point, we're ready to shed that weight and move forward. And I think that is a great piece to recognize if we really want to see major changes. So hopefully, they start flipping these systems that are a little bit more player friendly so we can get a better gaming experience. And so I'm excited for that. They don't really give any outlines as to how they're doing that, but at least it is on their minds. All right, next thing, February update. We're still waiting for this. We're in the last week of February, so we should be getting it this week, and I'll be covering another video on that. But I think the big things is that they called this the bugs, bots, and balance patch. So they fixed more than 1,000 things, over 350 bugs, 700 defects, and they had 225 tests that were improvements. So that's fantastic. Major, minor bugs. They're fixing things like text and voice chats, just improving quality of life. They're doing all of those things with all those little bugs that you've come to love. They said they're starting to get rid of those. Hopefully we won't see the same issue of you have a sword, but it's actually a piece of iron ore or something like that, and having the images fixed. I think that's the thing they're really focusing on, is quality of life at the moment. Now, is this necessarily content and great for February? But it's something that needed to get done. It's not going to bring players back, but we absolutely needed these bugs to be changed, bugs to be improved, and just the systems that they also improved in the February update that I'll get into later. What else are they talking about in this February update section? Devs in game. Okay, now what's going on there? There are a lot of bots in New World. Everybody's aware of that, right? So whether you are just starting or you're running around the end zones, there are bots everywhere. And what they're starting is this new dev initiative where you might start seeing devs in the game, and they're actively working on getting bots out and seeing that. So that's something really cool to start seeing. February update, though, I talk about this in my video, just all the general things that are happening. More Gypsum, Umbral, and Expertise bumps. They just want players to feel like they're having more progression. I think that's great. And they're trying to really determine what is getting in the way of players having fun in the game. And so that's why they're targeting these systems. I think just this introspective look that they're giving us is fantastic. If you want to have a good game in the future, you have to be critical of yourself and focusing on what is being done that's preventing people from having fun is crucial. And they're just aware of that. And so working on systems and working on player progression is great. The big thing that they mention is things don't need to be challenging in the sense of time or just, monotony. Things were feeling a bit sloggy, so they're fixing things like fishing and other trade skills or the expertise grind. So that's really what we're starting to see out of this February update. Bugs, bots, and balance, and removing the challenge. So it's starting to kind of ramp up some of these end game or mid game or even early game systems, and I'm really excited for that. They did mention time gating, and they said they're finding a balance of this challenge and fun kind of aspect, making adjustments on this front, and that's going to include those umbral shards and mutated orbs and all that stuff that we've already talked about. Now, the one thing I'm not a huge fan from the February update piece is mergers, okay? They said they're always addressing and assessing server health, but there are no additional mergers on the horizon at the moment. For me, that's a little concerning. So all of you know I'm on Eden. Right now, Eden has gone from the highest pop server to one of the lower pop servers. We have about 300 players on, probably right now. I don't know what we're at a peak, but that is not a healthy server, right? They have now flooded all the players onto one server, and everybody's sitting there getting queues, and it's just a little odd. Okay, and so I wonder how they're actually assessing server health and dictating whether or not they need mergers. There's a lot of servers out there that do need help and they do need support, including Eden. And it was also concerning that their fix for this was, we've given all of you a server transfer token, use it. I don't think that's the solution. I'll be looking into more about mergers and things happening with servers, but that's just a little hesitant for me. Other than that, great stuff coming in the February update. Next section, combat and game modes. Clunky movement has been a concern. Okay, we all know, we all feel really clunky. And so this is something, the main thing from the combat section I want you to take away is that they're working on clunkiness. So one thing they said is, if you're moving and you jump off of a ledge, we want you to continue moving after you jump and you don't have that delay. They want you to stop having a delay when you swing your weapon. And at the end, when you have this weird period where you just can't move. They're trying to add more fluidity into the game, and I appreciate that and respect that and hope that we continue working on that in the future. And the big one that is coming in February is weapon swapping. A lot of progress has been made. It's still not instant, but what they said is it is definitely better. And the feedback has been incredible. So hopefully we see a great iteration of that as the February patch rolls out. I know as a healer, I struggle with weapon swapping all the time in OPR, PvP, even general PvE. So I'm excited for that change. Also with combat, they're going to make the ability to block and dodge as soon as you pull your weapon out instant and more responsive. So that's great. Then we just have those Rapier and Void Gauntlet changes that we had mentioned. They updated the Rapier's cooldowns. I don't think much is going to change on the Rapier or the Void Gauntlet, especially the Void Gauntlet, because there's so many ways to reduce CDs. So I just think not much is going to change. Not a lot on combat in general. They mainly spent their time talking about Outpost Rush, and I like that they're improving the system. They're working on the scoring system, and they're making it so you get more expertise bumps and stuff like that, and faction tokens and all kinds of good stuff. So they spent most of their time in there talking about Outpost Rush, the game mode, not really the combat of the system. So I think there's not a ton to really report on there. I do like the fluidity aspect of combat, though. Some additional things that they didn't touch on in these dev notes that they do in the video that you can go and watch. Economy. They talk about inflation. I don't really think there's any issues with inflation at the moment. You know, they're addressing housing taxes. They've put juniper berries in the game. If anybody thinks the juniper bags are going to create some crazy inflation, I think we're gonna have a problem. I mean, it's just not gonna happen. But the economy, they think, is in a stable state. I would agree with that. I think it's in a relatively stable state, but the big takeaway they talk about in here is territory money. It's on their mind. What does that mean? If you own Windsward Neverfall versus somebody like us who own CK or don't even own anywhere, the amount of money disparity there is in the server from those companies to the other ones is insane, making it exponentially more difficult to actually compete. Right, so it just makes it tougher. All those companies have consumables, gear, everything that you need. Now, I will say, in terms of PvP, it's more about the player than the gear in this game, 100%. I'm not trying to say, gear wins wars. It's also skill and coordination. It's mainly that. But there is a little bit that comes from gear, and it is hard to catch up and do some of that stuff. Even just, buying into keys and buying into mutator orbs. It's easier when you have a big company that owns stuff. But the big thing, this isn't really economy related, to take away from this is they understand that attacking in wars is an issue, and attackers almost always lose. Defenders win 80% of the time. That's a problem. They want territories to be changing. They want that gold to be circulating around the server, and they're going to be working on war balance so that we can improve the economy, which I think is a really interesting way. And it's exciting to see that they're focusing on wars, because wars do have a lot of issues, and I hope that we get more from that in the future. Just additional stuff. I'm going to be covering a video on this, but luck does not work the way we think it does. It doesn't increase rarity. It increases named item drop rate. So that's interesting to know. But also gear sets in the future. This is the big one that I was like, yes, please. Having gear sets for the future for mutators, PvP, open world, harvesting, everything. They're working on that, but unfortunately, it is several months out. So those are all the big things that I thought came out of the video, came from these notes. I'll have a link to these notes. I'll have a link to the video. Go support the devs. Give them a comment on the video. Tell them how you're feeling. Tweet at them. Give them something. But nonetheless, I appreciate them, and I appreciate their openness. Here are my big takeaways. They want to work on player friction. They know they have systems that are time-gated, challenging to actually work, and they have systems in place that are impeding on the fun of the players. And so how do we improve upon that? We recognize it, we have this introspective look, and we start thinking, how can we manipulate and change these systems in a way that will allow players to play however they want to? I am excited for the future of New World. I think this is big. Now, I will say a lot of these things will be several months out, like gear sets, but I've said this multiple times. Give the game a year, give it a couple more months, give it everything. This will be a very, very different game in 1 year's time, and we'll be having very different conversations in 1 year's time than we are right now. So now a lot of you have stopped playing. A lot of you are kind of casually playing. Even myself, I play it. I do my daily stuff. I jump on, I'll stream it, I make videos on it, and then I'll do other things. Do what is best for you. Play it. Don't grind it super sweat and just keep playing nonstop. All right, that's my advice. Mix in some other things. Play some Lost Ark. Play some EFT. Play some kind of shooter game. Do something else as well. But keep playing New World. Keep having hope. And this game has a bright, bright future. As always, keep doing that weird YouTube stuff. Like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell. I appreciate you. I appreciate your support. Join us on Discord, Twitch, Twitter, TikTok. And if you want to support us directly, feel free to hit up the Patreon, early releases, stuff like that. But as always, thank you all for everything. Thank you to every single one of you for watching and supporting me, even though I'm one of the last New World creators left. But as always, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And thank you to every single one of you for being you.